my name is Ashley Montalvan, and I'm an animal science major at the University of Maryland. And today I'm here with Ashley Behler, the owner of Terra Equestrian LLC, where she provides lesson, training, and boarding services. So today I'm really going to talk about the boarding services and ask you a few questions.
Okay.
So the first question I have is, what does a normal day at your job look like?
So I usually start around 7:30, sometimes earlier, depending on what the schedule looks like that day. And all the horses have to be fed, and depending on the time of year, turn out, bring in. And I have help for that some days of the week. And then usually the mornings are some lessons, ride my own horses. And then I take kind of a break middle of the day because lessons start up in the afternoon, kind of after school hours.
Mm.
So a lot of my days don't end until about 9 o'clock at night. So I have to take a big break in the middle of the day to kind of get that downtime. I used to feel really guilty about it, but I would take from 1 to 3 to kind of just mellow out and take a long lunch break. But now I don't feel guilty about it at all because if I went from 7:30 to 8:30 or 9 each day, I don't think I would be very functional, especially in my 30s now. So
pretty long hours. So would you say that your job has more hours than other horse careers?
It probably works out about the same, because I definitely have slow seasons. The farm where I'm renting just has an outdoor arena, so winter time is really quiet. So my joke is that I'll sleep in February when it's too cold and nobody wants to ride. And that's usually when I can catch up on administrative stuff and all that. So this time of year, when show season is kind of really in full swing and you've got the weather's really nice, everybody wants to come ride, that's when you get those long days and you're like, gosh, I can't sustain this. But then the cold weather's looming and you're like, that's when it'll all slow down again. So it's a seasonal job.
Okay, that's good. So I'm gonna go on the second question. What do you like best about your job?
The horses. I mean, because there's not much other reason to do what I do, and I'm sure there's other jobs where I would work less hours and all that. But close second is the people. I really do enjoy interacting with people. I majored in sociology at Maryland, and that was I started out animal science, but I kind of got hooked on my intro to social class and switched to that. But because I like meeting new people, and horses keep you so busy, it's kind of hard to interact outside of the realm of where you work. So I like interacting with my clients. I like seeing a horse improve under my care. If they come kind of skinny or whatever, it's kind of fixing all that up and seeing the owner happy with the change and the progress. So there's definitely tangible improvement that you can measure and see, and I like that. And it's repetitive, but it also has the variety. So
so every day is different.
Yes, every day is very different.
And then for the opposite, what is the most challenging part of your job?
Just really the physicality of it. It's you feel very body tired at the end of most days, and even now that I have lots of help and stuff with the physical labor, I still find myself pretty physically exhausted at the end of the day. So just the actual work, right when you think you're going to get an easier day, the hay truck pulls up and you're like, all right, never mind. So just kind of keeping up with all that is definitely a challenge. So you have to
I could imagine
it. So
because I did volunteer at a horse farm, and that was only for 3 hours. So knowing that you work from 7 to 9, I know that's a lot. So
but it's different all day long. It's not like I do the
Yeah.
same. I don't muck stalls for 14 hours a day.
All right.
So yeah.
Okay. And then the other question I have is, did your job require any special training? Did you go to school for it? Or
So I did take equine classes at Maryland.
mm,
So I have that background. But a lot of it is like on the job kind of training. You learn by doing it and by working for
mm,
a bunch of different people. So my barn is kind of um, like a collage of like all these places that I've worked before and what I liked about those places. And it's, you know, it avoids things that I didn't like. And as far as instructing, I've done the workshops for the United States Eventing Association
mm.
ICP, um, but I never did the assessment. So I'm like able to be assessed, but I have not done that yet. So
Okay.
um, that's kind of, and then just taking lots of lessons. You have to educate yourself as much as possible to try and teach other people how to
Mm.
ride. So.
So a lot of your experience was just outside of school, like you just went out to volunteer or help on other
Yeah, I mean,
barns.
I did a lot of the grunt work jobs. I was a working
Mm.
student for a while, for a few trainers, and then I managed a barn for a lady in Woodbine and learned a lot there because she gave me a lot of kind of freedom to organize it how I wanted.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
then I kind of ended up back in like a working student kind of gig where I was the competition barn assistant. It was an odd title,
Mm.
but I kind of I got exposed to how a bunch of different types and styles of barns run. Like, the more kind of lesson little kid kind of introduction place versus the, like, you know, Olympic athlete eventing barn kind of thing.
Oh, that's
So
cool. Yeah,
yeah.
it's nice. Um, Other question is, do you lease or own your facility? What were your steps of getting the barn that you have today?
I've always rented my barns.
Mm,
Um, and it just kind of was I feel like I'm very lucky in that. Like I just keep kind of finding nice property owners with really
mm,
nice pieces of land,
yeah.
and they're willing to put a little bit back into it. So I when I knew I wanted to kind of do my own thing, I had a base group of clients, and I was trying to move them to a place that was already an established boarding facility and just train
Mm,
them out of that. And we were having trouble finding a place that had like 9 or 10 openings because there was that many of them. And so one of the clients was like, um, maybe you should just have your own place. And I was like, you're crazy. That'll never work. Place to rent in Woodbine, and stayed there for 5 years. And then I found my current place, which is in West Friendship, Maryland. And he's been a great landlord, and um, yeah, so I just kind of, he had an ad, I think, in the equerry that was like self-care field board, and that the barn had water and electric. And so I thought like maybe he has a nice barn and he doesn't want to deal with horses and horse people. Um, and I got there and it really was just like a shed with water and like an outlet. And I was like, okay, so this is nice, but I would need more. And he actually was very open to the improvements that I said it would need. And he kind of went to my old facility to look at it with me to see where I was coming
mm,
from, and was able to make some pretty impressive improvements over the years. I've been there for 7 years now.
uh,
So yeah.
that's nice that he like put some effort into going to see
Yeah.
where you came from.
We both took a big chance on each other because
Yeah.
I had a pretty good business established in Woodbine, um and he was kind of leery of whether I could pay my rent or not.
Mm.
He had some horse people in there that did not pay their rent. And so I was like, I totally get it. But I really do have a business. I swear. It's I teach lessons. My clients are nice. And so yeah, he took a big chance on me, and I took a big chance on the fact that he was going to give my business a good home. And so, like I said, it feels like a lot of luck. I mean, I know
Yeah.
there is work involved in it, but oh my gosh, it's like you got to just some of the things have to just kind of fall the right way. So
Right. That's
yeah.
good. Um, and what advice would you give to someone who would want to be a barn manager and like what you do?
Do the work. Like you need to work the kind of low level, entry level
Mm,
jobs. They're repetitive, they're long hours, they're thankless, they're sweaty and buggy, and or freezing and icy,
yeah.
and you just do the work because you learn from observing everybody around you and how they do things. You find things that work, and you see all different types of facilities and places, and kind of the advantages and disadvantages. So you're eventually able to walk around and look at a place and be like, this is how we could use that, or that
Mm,
would be a pain in the butt, so we should just hurry up and fix it now. So my advice would be to just do the beginning work, because it's worth it,
mm,
and it's not going to get any easier. It might get a little different, but um, yeah, it doesn't just suddenly start falling into place for you. So
right. So you have to like work your way up.
yeah, just get used to doing the work, and you find time to kind of still be a real person. Like that's kind of, I don't know, that's a weird term, but it's there's horse people, and then there's like normal people, and you'll start to find time where you can like go out to dinner with your friends, or like go see a movie, and that might not happen that much at first, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you do the work, it'll all start to get easier for you, as far as like that's just what the job is. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
take that advice, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
um, Next is what might be the salary range starting out versus being in the positions for 5 to 10 years?
So the salary range for like barn managing and working at farms can really range, because
Hmm.
there's a lot of like bartering in our industry. You may only make, you know, $300 a week, but you have a place to live, or you have a place to put your horse, or something
Hmm.
like that. Um, so I would say the salary is pretty much on the low end, maybe like 20 or 30K when you enter. Um,
Hmm.
and then this is bad. I honestly don't know what my actual salary is. Like my accountant knows that. Like I know
Yeah.
what my business brings in each year, and I know that I pay my bills, and I'm like, I still have a house, so
Yeah.
I'm okay in that sense. But um, yeah, it's definitely not the doctor or
Yeah.
lawyer salary, but it's a lifestyle. Uh, it's not so much a job. So, I mean, it could probably, if you were really successful, you could probably get it up to like 60 or 70K a
Hmm.
year. Livable. And you gotta remember that a lot of your assets are not dollar signs. It's the horses you own. It's the connections you've made. It's your truck and trailer that the average Joe doesn't own. And that gets you to the places where you do make your business income and stuff like that. So there's a lot of dimensions to it. If I didn't
Right.
have all my horses and pay for all their shoes, I could probably have a pretty nice closet of shoes of myself of my own. So
Yeah.
um, yeah.
Okay. Um, and from the beginning, how did you get your business up and running? I know you said that you did work at other facilities, but
Yeah, so like I said, I had kind of I called them my originals. It was a group of like, it was like four families, and a couple of the families had siblings, so it was a total of like 8 or 9 girls that were like middle school to high school age, and we were all looking to move from a farm that was being put on the market for sale, and then we just couldn't find a place that had that many openings. So that's when one of the moms said, you should just do your own thing. And I kind of sat down, and in Dr. Burke's class, I had actually did a business plan. And I actually pulled that out, and I pulled her little lecture notes out about like how to make an equine business plan. And I looked at all that, and I kind of just started putting together a spreadsheet on Excel and saying, okay, if I charge this much for board, and calling around to different vendors like shavings and all that stuff. And I already toured a few farms for rent, and kind of had an idea of what that would be, and just kind of looked at the numbers and was in disbelief, because I was like, I think this could actually work. Like I wouldn't make a lot of money right away, but I definitely wouldn't lose. And I didn't have any family money. I actually lost my dad to cancer right before I started my business. So it was definitely not like a bunch of finances and good situation going into it. But and it was 2008, which was like right during the recession and all that too. So I had clients that were like, well, we might not have jobs in 3 months, but we still want to stay with you. So there's a lot of risk involved of kind of expecting this base group of clients to stay with me long enough that I could kind of start attracting new people in. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm getting off topic, but this is how we started. Yes. So I did kind of the draft of a business plan, an Excel spreadsheet to see if it could, pay for itself at least. And then I just kind of went for it. Like, I just did it and had those people move with me. And I was fortunate enough. They were great clients. They stayed with me for a long time. I'm still in touch with all of them. One of them is like a 4-star rider now. Others are like going to school to be doctors. And so, yeah, it was a very kind of scary startup, because I was 23. And I was like, how does that even work? Like, how do you start your own LLC? And like, what is articles of organization? And there were a lot of like business aspect things that were still a little foreign to me. But again, I had really good kind of networking resources that I could call on and get help from. So
yeah, that's pretty cool that you were able to get some notes from school, and that helped you out.
Oh no, that class, the only thing I didn't keep was the stable name from that project. In my project, I called it Brago Stables, because I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd. So I was like, oh my God, the horse in Lord of the Rings is named Brago. I'll name my farm Brago Stables. But my mom and my sister vetoed that. They were like, no, people don't know what that is. Just call it Tara Equestrian, which is my middle name.
Okay.
So, and it was and it worked. And I used I took like a digital art class in high school where I learned Photoshop and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And so I took pictures of me riding my first horse ever, and like took the silhouette of that, and I designed my own logo. And so that was all kind of the fun part of starting the business. So
that's pretty cool. And then last question, would you recommend this job as a starting position for someone who's interested in working with horses?
As a starting position?
Yeah.
Not as a starting position. I think it would be too overwhelming. You would have to see kind of the inner workings of it. That's why you need that entry level working student or stall mucker or feeder or something like that to kind of just see the ins and out of it in the day to day, because that's the part that I think I take for granted. Like I feel like I'm really old, but that also comes with the benefit of all these years of kind of, I don't have to think about, I can't even think of an example because I don't have to think about it. Like, but somebody that just came in and was like, I'm going to manage a barn. And you don't have to do that entry level stuff for very long. If you're in the right situation, you do, a summer of it, and you would have a solid idea of what you would need to run a barn. And because I think there's a lot of like the administrative background stuff that people overlook, marketing people overlook, and then just being able to have enough of yourself left for interaction with clients. And obviously teaching requires a lot of patience, and you definitely have to be in the right headspace to deal with little kids on large animals. And you have to realize that people are paying good, hard-earned money for your service, and you're giving them a service, but they are also paying you for it. And I think some of the barns where I've been that were not so successful, I felt like it was more like they felt like they were doing all the clients a favor, and it wasn't, the dynamic wasn't right. So so just kind of picking up on that, like how to interact with the clients, and get an idea of like, do you want, like, what type of client do you want? I mean, there are some places that I worked where board was, I did like a winter at a dressage barn in Maryland where the only type of board available is full training, and it was like $1,900 a month to keep your horse there. And it's like, wow, it's like a mortgage. And those clients, I mean, it's a certain type of person that has that amount of money to just drop on their horse once a month. And I kind of, at that barn, I kind of learned that I can get along with those clients, but I don't necessarily want to surround myself with them all the time. So yeah, it's more the kind of mid-level that I like. So.
Okay, so like before, you would just say that you would want to go through like the experience that you went to and just make sure like you want all the aspects of this job before.
Yeah, because maybe you like only the teaching aspect of it. So then you can find a job where somebody else does all the administrative part, and somebody else is feeding the horses and all that stuff, and you just come and show up and teach lessons. And that's good. You can do that. And so I kind of took on like a full body approach of the business is board, lessons, training, all in one. So and to keep things simple, like I'm just not big enough to have like a bookkeeper and a barn manager and this. Like I've probably got the most people like covering the actual barn work that I've ever had now, which is really nice. But yeah, it's maybe you like the administrative and finance aspect of it, and you just go and are somebody that does that for a couple barns in the area. There's a company in Maryland called Mythic Landing. She does a lot of marketing for barns because a lot of riders are terrible with their public persona. Like they don't have one. It just is non-existent. So she's good at like, their social media presence, stuff like that. I would hate that job, but she likes it and does a really good job with it. And she would help, a rider like me that's like, well, I don't have time to like run a Facebook page and, update on what every horse on the farm ate for snack that day. Like, but yeah, that's how you kind of get a following and a fan base, and people start caring and investing in your horses and your business and your progress. So.
Okay. Well, I would like to thank you for answering all the questions and taking time out of your day to do this.
Yeah, no problem.
So I'm assuming this is part of your break, your 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is my break. I'm surprised my dog's been very quiet for all this.
Same.
So yeah.
Yeah.
She's just heartbroken that I left her in her crate right now. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you again. I will let you know when this is uploaded on YouTube so you can look at it as well.
Okay. Great.
All right.
Thanks so much.
No problem.